So basically, no matter if it's a one column layout, a two column layout, a three column layout, there are some properties that are going to be the same. For example, the background is going to be the same opacity. They're both going to, only display whenever you hover over them. They're going to all have the same padding. Whatever properties are similar in all layouts, this is where we want to set out. Of course, the main thing that is different about them is the width of them. This one column layout is a lot skinnier than the two column layout, so on and so forth. But for now, what is going to be a common attribute of all drop up menus? The first thing is, and this is pretty much all housekeeping stuff. Padding bottom 15 pixels. If you don't have a padding bottom, it looks really weird. Display none and text align left. So basically what we did is we added some spacing so the text doesn't look weird whenever it's in there. The position absolute is necessary just like whenever we did the programs menu, because if we didn't have this, then it would appear in a very weird position. Whenever we have position absolute, it makes it positioned relative to the list item. So you see how each of these drop-up menus appears exactly where you think it would? Well, that's because it's saying, okay, where do you want me positioned on the website? Well, actually, whenever we put absolute, it uses this button as a reference, and that way, whenever we move over eventually, it's going to be basically exactly where we want it. So again, position absolute means use the button as a reference for the drop up. Now, like I said, these are going to be common for every single drop up menu. However, the things that are going to be different are the layout sizes. So for layout, the one column layout, and this would be an example of that where you only have one column, we want to go ahead and give this a set width. So go ahead and set the width of this equal to 140 pixels. Now we want to do this for width of each. Now we want to do this for each layout. One column layout, two column, and three column. 2 and 3. Now for the two column layout, we want this 280. And for the three column layout, we want this, of course, none other than 420. For sure. By the way, yesterday was 420, so if you celebrated, congratulations. Now, basically what we did here is we set these layouts apart. And we pretty much want to make each one bigger because then we can stick more columns in it, of course. Now, basically what we did is we added 140 pixels to each layout. So each column is going to be 100. Well, it's not going to be 140 exactly because you're going to have some space on the left hand side, but it's basically going to be 140 pixels. So in the three column layout, you can stick either 3 with column in or 3 individual single columns. Make sense? Now after this, what we want to do is, if you guys haven't noticed yet, we didn't set any property so that these appear whenever you hover over the buttons. So right now, even though they have a width and also all these properties so the text looks like them, it's not displaying. By default, nothing is going to display. We only want these to display whenever you hover over the buttons. So how do we change this? Well, actually, okay, I was right. Display on hover, or display drop up menus on hover. I guess I might as well type this out. I don't want to cheat on this one. So in the footer menu, remember the list item, hover, and remember the list item is just the account, profile, and two columns button. Whenever you hover over those, and whenever you have a class called either one column layout, and now we can go ahead and copy. So whenever you hover over a button that has the one column layout, the two column layout, or the three column layout, that's when you display it. So the first thing we want to do is set the display, because by default it's none and we want it to display. So go ahead and just change this to block, and that'll make sure that it appears on the screen. Now the next thing that you want to do is, it's going to be position absolute, but what we want to do is, just in case and you guys overwrite it whenever you're messing with it, I'm going to go ahead and copy some of these properties. So margin, remember, we not only want them to reference the button in terms of where we're telling it to appear on the web page, but you also want to move it to the left 15 pixels, and that's because with our padding and our border, it would appear, the corner of it would appear like right around here if we didn't move it to the left 15 pixels. So 0, 0, 0, negative 15 pixels moves it exactly aligned with the left hand side of the button. Pretty freaking cool. Now the bottom, of course, just like before, we have to move it up 40 pixels. If not, it would appear on the very bottom of the browser, which we do not want. Now the border radius, I'm actually going to copy these two because I'm too lazy to type them. Alright, so the border radius and the background, that's what I'm looking for. So just like the programs menu, we're going to give it a background at 50%, what the heck? 50% opacity, as well as make the top two corners curvy. So what that does is it, I don't know if you guys can see it right there. Not only does it make your background transparent, which is awesome, just like this one, but it also makes those top corners, the top left and the top right, curvy, while leaving the bottom right and the bottom left ones square. I think that looks cool. If you guys think otherwise, then this is how you change that right there. So now what we did is we basically made 3 different layouts. We added 1 column layout, a 2 column, and a 3 column layout. Basically, we made different width drop-up menus. But now what we need to do is, and guys, this is going to take like actually it's probably going to take like a minute and a half, literally. What we need to do is we need to style the individual columns, because as you guys can see, a standard column is 130 pixels. This is 130 pixels, this is 130 pixels, this is 130 pixels. However, we also need to style a column that takes up 2, like this one, and this is actually 270 pixels, so you can either use it with a single column or a double column, and that equals 3, or you can style one big column, and this would be 410, and you can see this takes up 1, this takes up 2, one that would take up 3. Pretty obvious what that would look like. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to check out my new website, buckysroom.com. It's pretty sweet. Link below. And I'll see you guys in the next video, where we are going to be finishing the CSS file.